Well, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Great to have you along for the ride. If you were watching the Phillies game last night, that was not great. If you were watching the Flyers last night, they gave you a little bit of a thrill. And then John Tortorella, well, unfortunately, in the hockey world, stole the show, is what John Tortorella did with the way he torched his team after the game. The second period, not great. Not great for the Flyers and your 76ers. They got some good news yesterday. Now, I really hate when good news happens and then, I tries to keep it real, right? So yesterday, the news breaks that Joel Embiid is going to be maybe returning tonight. We'll see. All right. And then I get hit up by my friends over there at CBS, and they're like, hey, can you come on and talk about Joel Embiid? So we set up the Zoom, we do the whole thing, and at the end of it, I was like, wow, I was just one big bundle of negativity. And it's not even, I never go, okay, what's the most negative take I can have on something? I go, what's real? And that's one of the things I like doing here is that it can be extremely real. You know what I mean? Exactly how I feel all the time. And that's, generally speaking, exactly what I strive for, to be real, not to create some fantasy. And Embiid coming back is good. That's the good part. He's going to be back. The bad part about it is, dude, I don't think he gets the Sixers out of the second round. I'd absolutely love to say that he's going to get the Sixers out of the second round. He's not getting the Sixers out of the second round. And the second round for me is not a goal in terms of, if they just do this, then pack it up. They don't even need to compete in the Eastern Conference Finals. No, we have passed the point of just being competitive. All right, it's not just about being competitive anymore. If Joel Embiid was 25 years old, I'd be like, all right, I'm making it out of that second round. Let's go. But he's now 30, and making out of the second round is not the bar anymore. The bar is winning a championship. So go win that championship. That I don't see that happening this year. I feel Joel Embiid's return is more about Tyrese Maxey than anything else, and I'll explain what I mean by that a little bit later on in the program. But bottom line is, it looks like they're going to get him back. Maybe as early as tonight. We'll have to see. I hate that phrase, but when it comes to health, you can't be like, oh, no, you're going to be healthy. I don't have to play. No, I laid it out for you yesterday. They could either bring him back in, or they could just have him debut on the road in one of those 3 games, if not all those games, manage the workload, and then unleash the hounds when he comes back for the final few games of the season. But he's got to play. He's got to get himself back into shape for the Sixers to even have a chance to compete in the playoffs. And that, fun play-in tournament that we all love talking about so much. We have a lot to get into. Also, great to see this. I didn't talk about this on yesterday's show, but at least great to see Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley already working out together in the off season. Get on that same page. You know what it tells me? It tells me get used to that mesh point, amongst other things, of course, but very specific. Get used to that mesh point of the read option between those 2 options, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley, and the fit they'll be making defenses throw in the near future. Let's get into it. Let's start with your Philadelphia Phillies, because good God, Connor Brogdon. All right. Now, before we get there, again, negative, before we get there, Christopher Sanchez last night was phenomenal. And, I look at this Phillies team as they started the season, and here's what you got going on here, okay? Here's what you got going on. You got the fact that the Philadelphia Phillies had Zach Wheeler out there on opening day. Beautiful, masterful, wonderful performance by Zach Wheeler. Aaron Nola rocked. Then you come back with Ranger Suarez. Lovely performance. And then you start Christopher Sanchez yesterday, and he gives you 5 scoreless innings. 85 pitches through 5 innings of work. It's okay. All right, maybe as the season goes on and you get his pitch count up a little bit more, maybe you'll actually see him go out there and get that 6th inning under his belt. But Christopher Sanchez has not been one of those guys to get that 6th inning under his belt in his brief major league career. But what I saw from him last night was wonderful. And the changeup is what obviously grabbed headlines through those 5 innings. I believe he got 5 of his 8 strikeouts on those changeups. I loved that when he went into the 5th inning, I think it was 4th inning, De La Cruz, he threw 3 pitches to De La Cruz and then at bat in the 5th inning. The last two pitches were changeups, and he fooled De La Cruz on both of them. That is unbelievable in terms of just mastering that arm slot, that delivery and speed you're throwing, everything. Everything looks the same as that fastball, and Nelly De La Cruz was fooled on it both times, back-to-back pitches. The changeup was phenomenal last night. Then you look at the fact that he was throwing the slider well. He didn't use the splitter last night, and then also the sinker. The battle he had with Benson threw him a nasty sinker, a 3-2 sinker. Benson had no idea what to do with it, flailed at it, and that was that. 8 strikeouts for him, looked masterful last night. And then, of course, in that 6th inning, started to leak a little bit, trying to get that 6th inning under his belt. Just not able to get over that hump. Allowed 2 base runners. Both of them ended up scoring when Jeff Hoffman came into the game. And the bullpen, of course, did no favors for Christopher Sanchez. Alvarado did a fine job. Marte, Junior Marte came in. He did a fine job. Matt Strom, he did a favor there. Okay. Connor Brogdon in the 10th inning. 37 pitches, I want to say, from Connor Brogdon there in that 10th inning. You got a runner on second base, of course, for those who don't remember. Connor Brogdon comes in. He gives up a total of 3 walks, total of 1 hit. Could not fight in the strike zone, say the least. 37 pitches in total, yeah. 18 of them for strikes. 18 of those pitches for strikes. 18. Talking about damn near 50% in the strike zone. I loved the cheer that he got when he actually threw a strike. And I think John Kruk or T-Mac, I forget who said it on last night's broadcast, they were absolutely dead on accurate when they said, just throw it, just to hell with it, just throw it. And he's throwing a steer in that 10th inning. Having trouble getting the ball across the plate, pops the mitt, right over the heart of the plate, and Steer's got to be thinking, oh, yeah, this guy's just going to throw me another fastball. And what did Steer get? He got another fastball. What did Steer do? Jumped all over the fastball and belted it to left field for a grand slam home run and a 6-2 lead. Brogdon just looked completely lost out there. Said after the game, his mechanics and all that stuff, blah, blah, blah. He just looked lost. There's nothing you can really say about it. He looked absolutely deer in headlights lost in last night's game. There are other things that went into this. Connor Brogdon takes a lot of the headlines out of that, or takes up a lot of those headlines. Bryce Harper in last night's game was 0 for 5. Nick Castellanos in last night's game was 0 for 4. They combined for 0 for 9 and 4 strikeouts. One thing I'll say about Harper on a positive note, as a power hitter, as a guy that is trying to still get his swings done, being that he didn't have a lot of spring training action, he had the back injury, he's throwing himself into camera wells. If you get a bad back, that's not feeling good the next day. Do I believe that it was a scheduled day off? Yes, only because of the back issue. They probably wanted to get him 2 games. And then, hey, how do you feel? Okay, you feel good? Even after the camera well? Why don't we take an extra day just in case? That's what I'll say about the scheduled day off. I can believe it to a degree. But watching him play yesterday, there were certain plays, there were certain pitches, really, that made me think that maybe his timing is just a little bit off, because he had that one hit, or that one contact he had there in the 6th inning, where he led off the inning, got a first pitch fastball, and absolutely jumped all over it. Excuse me, it was a 2-1 fastball. So he's thinking he's going to get another fastball, even the count, jumps all over it, hits it right back to Andrew Abbott at the mound, who snares it out of the air, and that was that. But he jumped on it, and he had no issue with that, or I had no issue with that. Then later in the ball game, you have a similar issue where he's actually going to try to jump on. This is the first pitch fastball, and this is after Kyle Schwarber led off with a single. Trey Turner followed with a single, so you get back-to-back singles to lead off the 8th inning. You figure, oh, you're actually going to start to put up some runs here. At this point, it's still a 2-2 ball game. Suter's on the mound. You have runners at first and second, nobody out. You have Rojas then pinch hit for Kyle Schwarber. How important this move ended up being is ridiculous, but it ended up being really, really important. So Schwarber comes out of the game, 2-2 ball game, runners at first and second, nobody out. Heart of the order coming up. You want to make sure that you get that run home from second base in any potential. You can score that run. You have Alvarado come in there in the 8th inning. You close it down. In the 9th inning. You close it down and you move on with a victory. And all of a sudden you're 2-2 to start the season. All right. I'm very good at math. Harper jumps on a first pitch fastball. Just missed a first pitch fastball. Popped it up to left field, and that was it. So you have Rojas on second base now with one out, Trey Turner on first base. Suter goes out after he faces Harper. Diaz comes in. Real Muto's at the plate. There is one thing that Johan Rojas can absolutely not do in this situation. One thing Johan Rojas cannot do, and that is get picked off the bases. And what does Johan Rojas do? Gets fooled by a spin move by Diaz and gets picked off of second base. You now got 2 outs in the inning with just a runner on first base. JT Realmuto still at the plate. He ends up striking out on a 3-2 slider that he goes chasing. Game remains tied. Alvarado does his job in the 9th inning, gets Espinal, De La Cruz, ends up giving a walk to Fairchild, missed on a 3-2 sinker, and then Malley goes up there and he strikes out on a 3-2 slider. Great to see that. Oof. Cutter. Going to the 9th inning, nothing doing there for the Phils. Going to the 10th inning, I've already explained what the hell's going on with Connor Brogdon. I mean, I'm not really explaining, but what happened to Connor Brogdon in that inning? Absolutely terrible. Rob Thompson remains confident in the lineup. Rob Thompson remains confident in Connor Brogdon. I did not expect Nick Nelson to get called up from the minor leagues, and then all of a sudden, yeah, here you are. Go get him, as he did, try to mop up that 10th inning. One thing I did laugh at last night, and here you go. I'm not going to skew negative. I laughed. I was in a state of laughing. But it was one of those states of laughing where if I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying. Nick Castellanos at bat in the 6th inning. It was the 6th. That's where Harper led off the inning with the line out to the pitcher, to Abbott. Then Pagan comes in, Pagan comes in. Abbott was done after 5 1/3, 90 pitches, 2 runs, 3 hits. Realmuto gets a single. Bohm steps up. He grounds out to first. Realmuto goes to second. Castellanos then steps up to the plate. The first pitch Nick Castellanos saw was a ball in the dirt about 3 feet off the plate. He swings at it because why? Well, because Castellanos, soon to be Nicky 3 buttons when the weather heats up a little bit. He swings at that, flails at that, strike 1. Next pitch, in on his hands. If he just would have stood there, it probably would have went through his jersey. It probably would have went into his jersey, through one of the buttonholes in his jersey. All right? He swings at it, now down 0-2. Couple of pitches later, there's a pitch at the knees. Was it low in the zone? Was it probably a ball? Yeah, but it was this. Of all things, you know what it was? Too close to take. While he's swinging at balls in the dirt and in on his hands, he takes a pitch at the knees, and then Castellanos has the cojones to argue with Bill Miller behind the plate about what a ball and a strike is. If you're Bill Miller, you've never had an easier argument in your life. Now, I will say this. Later in the game, Bill Miller, home plate umpire, I think he was in a hurry. I'll just say I think he was in a hurry. But at this point in the 6th inning, Nick Castellanos is going to argue with you about balls and strikes. You're like, Nick, you just swung at a pitch. You see there? There's the divot from the ball in the dirt. There's the mark the pitch made in the dirt. And you swung at that pitch. You see the jersey, a little scuff mark on it? That's also the ball. You swung at that pitch. And you want to tell me what a ball and a strike is? Get out of here. Never an easier argument for an umpire to win. Be like, Nick, I hate to tell you, but you Castellanos the hell out of this at bat. Last year, we went into the season. We thought, is Nick Castellanos going to be is Nick Castellanos, is he's figuring it out, have a little patience at the plate? How's his pitch recognition going to be? Is he going to see the ball well out of the pitcher's hands? Last year, maybe the first 2 months of the season, I want to say, Nick Castellanos was great. Nick Castellanos was fantastic. Nick Castellanos had focus. And then the middle of the season started to go by the wayside. And then by the end of the season, started to come back a little bit. And then the playoffs were gone. especially by the NLCS, the last 4 games of that. And then gone. It was gone after that. When the season started, one of the questions was, what version of Nick Castellanos are we going to see? I talked about it. You're talking about Alec Boehm, talking about Nick Castellanos. What version of these players are we going to see as the season goes on? Are we going to see some power from Alec Boehm? Well, Alec Boehm's doing a hell of a job to start the season as far as what he's been doing at the plate. Not too bad at third base either. Love to see the quantum leap he's had at defensive third base has been fantastic. Another question was to Nick Castellanos. What are we going to get out of Nick Castellanos? What type of approach is he going to have at the plate? What are we going to see from Nick Castellanos? To answer the question so far through 4 games, not much. Not much. Opportunities to help the Phils in this game, was unable to do it. And has not looked very sure of himself in right field. I'm not saying he's been a butcher or he has been anything like he was in his first year as a Philly up until the World Series, where all of a sudden he just snapped out of him and became a pretty damn good right fielder. A little shaky and right. Not that he's cost the Phillies games or anything like that. Just when I watch him out there, just a little shaky. I don't know if it's the new out-of-town scoreboard that might be distracting him. I don't know. But a lot left to be desired from last night's Phillies game. But on the positive side, Christopher Sanchez looked great. On the negative side, or the real side, if you will, Connor Brogdon continues the bullpen woes for the Phillies. Bryce Harper still looking through for his first hit, 0 for 5. And he came up in spots to help the Phillies. The last at-bat that he had, that was rough. Because I didn't think that they were going to challenge him the way they did. And, yeah, they challenged him. And Tone was the pitcher for the Reds last night, came in the 10th inning. You have Stott Stott is starting off the inning on second base. Merrifield works a walk. Marsh strikes out. Remember how I said that Rojas pinch run was really going to come back to get you? He came up to the plate in a 6-2 ball game with two men on. Who would you rather see? Kyle Schwarber or Johan Rojas in that situation? Because I'd like to see I wouldn't like to see Johan Rojas. I'd like to see Kyle Schwarber come to the plate in that situation. And unfortunately, Johan Rojas went out there. He ended up grounding out to second. Trey Turner came up, got the single off the pitcher for an RBI, made it a 6-3 game. And then Bryce Harper came to the plate with an opportunity, 2 men on, to tie things up with a long ball. And I thought they're not going to give him a fastball here. Are you going to give Bryce Harper a fastball here? Are you going to give him a fastball? They gave him 3 fastballs. 2 he swung at, and the third one he also swung at, and he missed it. Completely missed it. Not just missed it, where he flew out to deep center field, but completely missed it. I know it's not hitting season and all that, but there was, if Harper has his timing down, that's a tie ball game. That's a miraculous comeback. If Harper has his timing down, he's certainly not 0 for 5 like he was last night. And the one pitch that he did tattoo that went right back at Abbott was just right at Abbott's face, and he snagged it, and that was that. Would have been a single up the middle line drive, single up the middle. And unfortunately, that just wasn't the breaks for the Phils last night. After the game, Thompson's got confidence in his team. Brogdon is going to work out his mechanics and whatever the hell. But it was just not a lot of good, unfortunately, for the Phils, especially after another good start to the game. Schwarber had the first hit of the game for the Phils. Turner works a walk again. How you ended the game, or how you had a chance to really put the game away in the 8th inning, was how you started the game, with Turner and Schwarber getting on base. Schwarber with a single in the first inning, Turner with a walk. Oh, an 8-hit. By the way, I just went on that tangent about Nick Castellanos and what type of approach he's going to have at the plate. Trey Turner is miles ahead of where he was last year in terms of his approach at the plate. Not overall production, but approach at the plate. Okay? 8-pitch walk that he works. There was a couple of pitches in the dirt that Abbott threw him in that first at bat that Turner last year is flailing away at those pitches. He's going golfing, baby. Not this time. Works that walk, 8 pitches. You got a runner on first and second, nobody out. Turner was also down in that at bat in a 1-2 count. Came back in that at bat. Harper struck out, chasing a 1-2 curveball away, flailed at that. Real Muto had a sacrifice fly that got Schwarber to third. And then Boehm steps up there and puts a ball down the right field line into the corner And just like that, the Phillies are up 2-0 on that 2-run double by Alec Bohm. Love to see that. Oh, and Castellanos then struck out to end any more of a threat. 39-pitch first inning for Abbott in that one. Also, Trey Turner stole second base in that inning. 37 straight stolen bases for Trey Turner. You know the last player to do that? I'm not talking about just the Phillies, but the last player to do that? Jimmy Rollins in 07. He did it through from the end of 07 to the beginning of 08. But anyway, this all ends with a 6-3 Phillies loss, unfortunately. You hate to see it. So hard. I'm going to save the Embiid stuff because rarely do we get a chance to talk hockey. Flyers lost 4 in a row now, I believe it is. That's not good. That's the opposite of good. That's really bad. Let me just keep up on my Flyers here. But make sure I have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in a row now. Excuse me, 4 in a row going into last night. Last night they lost 4-3 in overtime. They pick up another point, but they lost, and they're desperate for points here to try to make it into the playoffs. Lose to the Islanders. Last night was I'm going to say this name wrong. Fedotov, not Fedotov. Fedotov. You got to get the dough in there, okay? Ivan Fedotov starts in the net for the Flyers. Apparently, according to John Tortorella, he was the only player that showed up to play the second period. John Tortorella wasn't pissed at the way the team played throughout the entire game. He was pissed at the way the Flyers didn't show up, quote unquote. In the box score, it's a 1-1 game in the second period. After the second period, it was a 3-2 game. So the Flyers still scored a goal in that second period. But apparently, according to John Tortorella, they did nothing in that. This is classic John Tortorella. If you were all about getting John Tortorella in here with the Flyers, this is the John Tortorella you were getting. Here's John Tortorella after the game, absolutely torched by torts, his Philadelphia Flyers team effort in that second period.
Your assessment of where things were
soft. One guy played, the goalie.
How encouraging is it that he came in like that cold and was able to?
Terrific. He's the only guy that played.
Is that pretty surprising? Considering you said like you trust your team, you don't have to tell them or remind them, and then they do that.
You're finding things out here, okay? When these games are at a whole different plane, okay? It's still regular season, right? But it's a whole different plane. So we're finding things out.
You talked after the last game about that was kind of what you felt like wasn't a great performance. Are you concerned at all that tonight it kind of lingered again, that you just said it was a soft game per se?
Not the whole game and not the whole group. There are certain people that they don't have a clue how to play or just don't have it in them to play in these type of situations. And this is why I'm glad we're playing them. I'm glad because we have to figure things out as far as what we're going to become as a team here. That was embarrassing in the second period for the Philadelphia Flyer uniform, the way we played. Embarrassing. High marks as far as how we came back in the third. Some guys.
Anytime I get an embarrassing the uniform, doesn't have to be just hockey, an embarrassing uniform. Okay, I got to be honest with you guys. I didn't see the second period. I was watching the Phillies. All right. I don't know what John Tortorella is talking about, but all I know is, Coach, not happy with the team's effort that has now lost 5 games in a row and desperately trying to make the playoffs. But I love that he's talking about how it's an audition for a lot of these guys. I'm glad we're playing them because we're finding out what they're made of. Second period, embarrassing to the Flyers uniform. And then finally, Tortorella capped it off with this when talking about his goalie.
Ivan, why did you make the decision to bring him in, and how impressed were you in his performance tonight?
I wanted to bring him in. It just didn't look right with Urs, and I'm totally impressed. I put him in a hell of a spot. And he's the only goddamn player that played in the second period.
In case I didn't lay it on thick enough in that first 60 seconds. I got to get that rest. Got to get the rest in there. Oh, man. By the way, I just have to say, Have you ever met someone that sound or listened to someone that sounds exactly like somebody else, and you just can't help but think of that person? Like John Tortorella sounds personally. It sounds exactly like somebody I know personally, and ever since I made that connection, I can never get it out of my head. I can never get it out of my head. And listening to him, I'm like, oh, that's my man Billy. That's every time I hear him talk. And listening to him like that, oh man, it's hilarious. Billy is also, Billy is also the cousin-in-law, I guess it would be, sounds exactly like that guy. But anyway, John Tortorella in full torts mode last night. All right, let's get to the 76ers and what is going down. Adrian Wojnarowski, for the last week, has been saying that Joel Embiid will be back soon. He's going to play in a handful of games. He's going to play in a few games. They're going to get him back. Optimism in the Sixers organization to get Joel Embiid back playing basketball before the playoffs start. Nick Nurse, if you haven't listened to reports, Nick Nurse, highly likely is the words he used when it came to Joel Embiid coming back, and if he'll come back and play before the playoffs start, it's highly likely that he'll do that. Well, Woj dropped the Woj bomb yesterday that Joel Embiid could come back as early as tonight. Make a return to the Sixers lineup. 35 points per game is what Joel Embiid was dropping before the meniscus injury. I am not expecting him to do that. I would love to see a 30-point game. I would love for Joel Embiid to be able to put up a 30-point game before the playoffs. Would love it. Don't think he's going to get that opportunity to do it. The Sixers right now, I would assume, would have Joel Embiid coming back to the lineup. Let's say it's tonight. You get him 15, 20 minutes. How do you feel? You feel good? Good. You have the next game off. Then after that, you start to work up his work. You start to ramp up his workload as time goes on. Because here's what the Sixers have. The Thunder tonight, the Heat, the Grizzlies, the Spurs, the Pistons, the Magic, the Nets. You got 7 games left in the regular season. If he comes back tonight, which again I'd love to see, TNT game, national game, get Joel Embiid back. I'm sure the NBA would love to have Joel Embiid back on that national stage against OKC. Get him out there, 20 minutes tops. How do you feel? Have a day off. Come back. Don't play for 4 more days till you go into Memphis against the Grizzlies. You missed the game against the Heat. Or maybe the Sixers say, oh, no. We know he's 100% healthy. There's no issue whatsoever. He's ramped up fully. All systems go. So maybe he logs 34 minutes in the game tonight. And then he plays again against the Heat. And then he plays again against the Grizzlies. Maybe that's the way that goes down. I know some people might, just rest him. You're not going to do anything for the rest of this season anyway. Why even bother having him play? Well, because I still want to see the Sixers play their absolute best brand of basketball. And the Sixers' absolute best brand, no question about it, best brand of basketball is with Joel Embiid playing basketball for them. And if he is 100%, then he's got to play. And here's the other thing. The Sixers aren't going to rush Joel Embiid back. That would be far and away the dumbest thing that the Sixers have done in recent memory. And that right there might be to some people the hottest take ever assembled. The dumbest thing. Oh, no, but it's accurate. Dumber than anything Brian Colangelo ever did. Dumber than the 30 seconds Brett Brown had final say over the Sixers draft and roster. Dumbest thing they could do is rush Joel Embiid back into playing. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. The Sixers are going to be as careful as possible for a multitude of reasons. One, the future, okay? You're not going to rush back a 30-year-old Joel Embiid. That would be stupid because let's say you want him to be healthy for next year, then you don't rush him back. If you want him to be healthy for next year so he helps you win basketball games, then you don't rush him back. If you want him to be healthy for the off season, for a potential trade, you're not going to rush him back. Look, after the season, everything's on the table. Do I want him to be traded? No, I don't want him to be traded. We'll see if he chokes in the playoffs this year. One thing I really want to avoid, and then I'm going to get to why this is a bigger deal for Tyrese Maxey than it is for Joel Embiid. One thing I don't want to hear is the Sixers getting eliminated let's just be optimistic and say they get eliminated. They make it to the second round, okay? They get out of the play-in tournament, and then they're able to play in the second round, get at least into the second round. One thing I don't want to hear is the built-in excuse that's there of, Joel Embiid needed more time to play himself into shape. Or he didn't have Joel Embiid long enough towards the end of the year for everyone, with Buddy Hield being here, with Kyle Lowry being here, with Cam Payne being here. You didn't have time to adjust to life back with Joel Embiid. Adjust back to life with Joel Embiid. I don't want to hear that at the end of the season. I don't want that to be an excuse. What I would like to hear is how the Sixers gave it their best effort. You saw great performances from Joel Embiid. It just wasn't enough to beat the Bucks or beat the Celtics or whatever the case might be in that second round. That's what I would really love to hear that's what I would really love for the Sixers to be able to avoid. Tonight could be, the first step in seeing whether or not Joel Embiid is going to be up to snuff when it comes to being able to play in the postseason at a very high level. The reason this is a bigger deal for Tyrese Maxey is because looking at these last couple of months with life without Joel Embiid, or last month and a half with life without Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey has shown me that he is every bit of an all-star player, every bit of a leader. And this isn't a knock on him. This is, you could call it nitpicking, but it's the truth. He is not ready to lead an NBA roster in terms of good enough to get them victories. He is not there yet. 9 games under 500 now without Joel Embiid, 10 games under 500 now without Joel. That's not great. That's Tyrese Maxey trying to lead the charge. And then they just won this game with the Raptors. Granted, it was an ungodly night from 3 where they knocked down 24 threes. Woof. Tyrese Maxey's just not ready to take over that number one guy role yet. I believe he will be at one point in his career, but that point of his career is not right now. Everything else is great. Is he ready to be that solid number 2 guy? He is every bit of that solid solid number 2 guy with little sprinkles of number 1 guy in there as well. But the reason this is bigger for Maxey is because with Joel Embiid being out, you got as close to that kind of gap year as you could possibly get when you were thinking about moving on from James Harden. Because one of the big questions of that year, without going out there and getting another huge free agent, is how is Tyrese Maxey going to handle this? What does the growth look like for Tyrese Maxey? And you know what he did? He grew into an all-star. So that's pretty impressive with Tyrese Maxey. He grew into a 22, 23-point guy with Joel Embiid, 25, 27-point guy without Joel Embiid. That's pretty damn good in terms of putting teams away and being that leader to victory. We have yet to see that on a consistent basis from Tyrese Maxey. However, with Embiid back, how much of a step forward will Tyrese Maxey have as that number 2 guy? Let's say he was number 2 operating at a B level. Will he now be that number 2 operating at a A level? Will he be a 1A to Joel Embiid? Will he take a step to be what James Harden was supposed to be, playing with Joel Embiid? These are the questions that I would love to see answered in the final 7 games of this season. I would certainly love to at least have answered by the end of the playoffs, their playoff run. With Embiid going out, Maxey's maturity in terms of, and I'm not talking about, he's a kid, he needs to mature. No, I'm talking about as a player, his maturation process needed to take a big step forward. I saw a little bit of it. Would have loved to see more where he led the Sixers to a winning record and all that. Probably unrealistic considering you just lost the MVP. One of the questions I was asked yesterday was how much better will Embiid make this team, given all the new faces. They got to get on the same page. And I'm like, I don't think anyone's going to say no to the reigning MVP coming back to play for you. I don't think anyone's going to say no to a guy that was putting up 35 plus points per game with over 10 rebounds. I don't think 10 rebounds. I don't think anyone's going to do it. Wilt Chamberlain. Those are Wilt Chamberlain numbers we're talking about here. Nobody's turning that down. So Sixers, go figure it out. Nick Nurse. This is where Nick Nurse can also show me how much better he really is than Doc Rivers. Not that I think he's any bit worse by any means. He's better. But just show me how much better. How quickly can you get these guys on the same page? With Buddy Hield being here, Cam Payne being here, Kyle Lowry being here, show me how much better, how much faster you can get these guys on the same page. Because one of the things that I think about over the course of time here with the Sixers and Brett Brown and Doc Rivers is you got all these new faces coming in to play with one another. They haven't played together yet. How are you going to get all these guys on the same page in such a short amount of time? Brett Brown's probably the best example of this with the year that he had with the Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons 76ers, then the Jimmy Butler, Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid 76ers, then the Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler 76ers. That year they lost to the quadruple doink of Kawhi Leonard. That's probably the best example of, we got to get all these guys on the same page. And these are some, especially with Jimmy Butler and Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid, these are some dominant personalities. And Ben Simmons would be like, whatever I can do to do, I just want to play defense. That's not easy. But Nick Nurse has the challenge in front of him of how does he get all these guys on the same page. It shouldn't be that hard. There's one thing that I like about this. This Kyle Lowry can shoot the basketball. Cam Payne can shoot the basketball. Buddy Hield, streaky, but can shoot the basketball. It shouldn't be that hard. Tyrese Maxey can shoot the basketball. It shouldn't be that hard for Joel Embiid to play with these players. Where I get concerned about Joel Embiid is if you have another big, i.e. Al Horford, for instance, and getting those guys on the same page. Joel Embiid played great with Jimmy Butler being out, or Jimmy Butler didn't have to live 3 feet from the basket at all times, like some people, whether that be Ben Simmons or Al Horford. But what I really, really love is that you have guys that are shooters with Joel Embiid. So if Joel Embiid's backing a guy down on the basket and he can't go for it, can't try to get the N1, or guys are collapsing on him, kick out to Kyle Lowry, kick out to Tyrese Maxey, kick out to Buddy Hield, kick out the Cam Payne, kick out to Kelly Oubre, who already has some games under his belt, obviously, with Joel Embiid. That's what I want to see. And I think this should be easy for this to come together. I don't see the new faces on the team being as much of a problem with Joel Embiid coming back as maybe it's been in years past. I don't think that's going to be as big a difference as maybe some people are making it out to be. Bottom line is get him playing, get the games under his belt, get him as close to game shape as humanly possible before the playoffs get underway. Sixers tip off 7:30 tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. It's in South Philly, a game you could certainly look forward to for tonight. So I look forward to that game. That's how I feel about it. Here's something you don't hear me say very often. So in women's basketball, first, I followed Caitlin Clark. She's amazing. I love catching her when I do. And seeing her a little bit last night, flipping around from the Phillies, Flyers, Phillies, and the Elite Eight with Iowa and LSU. She's just absolutely incredible. And if you get a chance to watch because it's great. It's great basketball. However, one thing happened in last night's game. Oh, I have to get in this question. Do I have an update on this question? It's a question that might make the entire Philadelphia sports world collapse unto itself. But anyway, last night, as a former referee, 10-year basketball referee, I had a big issue with last night and Angel Reese fouling out of the game. And I saw ESPN put this out as well about, was it the right call? It was not the right call. She should not have fouled out of that game. Now, did it matter to the game? No, it didn't matter to the game. The Iowa was already up 10 points. There was like a minute 30 left in the game, whatever it was. But I hate to see a player foul out of a game, especially of that magnitude. So anyway, the play was Angel Reese gets the ball in the wing. I forget who it was for Iowa. She gets the ball in the wing. She dribbles to the basket. She creates a path to the basket, and it's a block or charge situation. The Iowa player draw was called on drawing the charge. If you saw the play, I don't know what you thought of it, but to me, it was absolutely a block. The wrong call was made. I know a lot of people talk about the feet have to be set and all that stuff. The feet being set doesn't matter. It does not matter. By definition, the feet can be moving in basketball. That's not how you establish position. What matters is establishing your position at the spot. The Iowa player did not establish her position at the spot. She was still drifting into the path created by the offensive player. So Angel Reese has the offensive the path to the basket. She has a right to the basket. Once she establishes that path, if you're going to get in there in her way, you have to establish your position. Your feet can be moving. You can't be going side to side. Your feet could be chopping, but you can't still be drifting into her path when she makes contact. Because then by rule, you're making contact as the defensive player. You're creating the foul, hence a block. So a lot of people going back and forth on this. First off, a lot of people are in their feels when it comes to Angel Reese. Good God, man. But just talking about this specific play, the wrong call was made. She didn't deserve to foul out of that game. The overhead view from the basket showed clear cut. Iowa still moving into her lane on her route to the basket, and they called a charge, and she fouled out of the game. That was some horse doo-doo for them. As someone who really admires just Caitlin Clark just dominating that game last night, I had to talk about one play that personally bothered me because as an official, people really don't understand the block charge calls. And even in the NCAA men's NCAA tournament, or not even the tournament, but just NCAA college basketball for men, they changed the rule. I didn't realize this. They changed the rule a year ago in terms of how the rule should be interpreted to lead to more charges being called than blocks. It was something about the player establishing position outside the arc under the basket. So not in the arc, but outside the arc. Basically, once the offensive player's plant foot is established, not necessarily the path, but the plant foot. If that happens before the player's set, then it's charged. I thought that really doesn't sound that different, but apparently it led to an uptick of plays being called in favor of the offensive player this year in basketball, which is bonkers. Hey, I have a fun question. Threw this out during last night's baseball game. I see some people asking me about where the post-game show is. I am doing a post-game show with the Locked On Sports Network this year for the Phillies and Sixers. So you guys can check me out on there. I tweeted out the link last night, so you guys can catch me on there. It's me with the Sixers and the Phillies, so we're making decisions on what games we're doing and all that stuff. But it's all in the name of fun, folks. It's all in the name of fun. Here's my question that I threw out last night. When Connor Brogdon was throwing 37 pitches and only 18 of them were strikes, if Connor Brogdon faced Nick Castellanos, I know a lot of people are like, go on, because that means one of them aren't here anymore. If Connor Brogdon faced Nick Castellanos, would he strike him out? Yes or no? On my Twitter poll, 56.3% said that yes, Connor Brogdon would strike out Nick Castellanos. 43.7% said no, he would not strike out Nick Castellanos. The people that said yes, you are correct. He would strike out Nick Castellanos. He'd be flailing away at pitches left and right. Are you kidding me? Nick Castellanos would be like, this fastball low and away in the dirt. This is going to be good. Wow. Oh, I missed it. Oh, drat. So you can go ahead and vote on that. Question's still up. Hey, let me tell you about the amazing people at the Game Time app. Game Time app. Ladies and gentlemen, enjoy yourself with the Game Time app. Want to go to the game? Want to go to the concert? Want to go to a big event? Go to the Game Time app. Download the account. Use promo code FARZI and get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Enjoy all they have to offer on the Game Time app, ladies and gentlemen. It is fantastic. Let's get into the chat check and see how wonderful people are doing on this fine morning. Wait, hold on. I just saw this. This is right on point to what I'm talking about here. So I'm going to get this. Sean Kilray. Look at how Reese lowered her shoulder, her facial expression. She knew what she did fouling out. Oh, facial in terms of fouling out of the game. See, the lowering the shoulder thing, that's an interpretation call. Still, I rule it as the wrong call to make because a player can still protect the ball on the way to the basket, especially if a defensive player is going into her path. You can protect the basketball. Now, are you trying to bowl people over or are you trying to get to the basket? That's where the interpretation comes in. My interpretation is many basketball players, if they see someone trying to get in their path, they're going to try to protect the basketball. So I didn't have a problem with that. But I see what you're saying, Sean. Absolutely. KJ, good morning. What's going on? Daz, they told me the Phillies had the best bullpen in baseball. I'll say this about the Phillies bullpen last night, okay? Did I say earlier they didn't do him any favors? Well, some of them did favors. All right. Did Hoffman allow 2 hits and 2 runs to score? Yes. Were they charged with Christopher Sanchez? Yeah. You would like to see Jeff Hoffman come in there and slam the door. Wasn't able to do that. He gets the blown save in that situation. Isn't that funny? That's funny. Stram, scoreless inning. Marte, scoreless inning. Stram, a strikeout. Marte, a strikeout. Alvarado, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts in a scoreless inning. Connor Brogdon, 2/10 of an inning, 1 hit, 4 runs, 3 of them earned, 3 walks, 2 strikeouts, 1 home run. It was a grand slam. 18 of 37 pitches for strikes. In the words of Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, I have a cut thumb. I don't know if I'll be able to do this, but there you go. Nick Nelson, scoreless 3rd of an inning with a strikeout. Of the 6 pitches he threw, 4 of them were for strikes. So the bullpen did some favors last night. Didn't do it for Zach Wheeler. Aaron Nola, well, he shot himself in the foot. Ranger Suarez, okay, not terrible. And then yesterday, Christopher Sanchez. Oh, hey, Christopher Sanchez, 2. You're going to go throw 5 scoreless innings and then get gotten to in the 6th a little bit there with a couple of hits? Here's the bad situation. How do I make it worse? Signed, Phillies bullpen. There you go. GM, good morning to you too, CZ. IBH, what's going on? Daniel, what's popping? Morning. Daniel, I'm just realizing you have the Lakers championship, bubble championship as your avatar. Okay. CZ slow start again. Yeah, this is what the Phillies do, unfortunately. B Costell $300 million for 0 for 11. Not great. More about the special teams, special plays, special players. What was that? April, good morning. Buddy Christ, hope you enjoyed the resurrection. I did. I was rooting hard, man. I was rooting hard for you. But so, Buddy Christ, I got to ask you this question. As Buddy Christ, I have to ask you this question. What did you make of the Atlanta Braves saying that we would have booed you at the resurrection? Dad, Buddy Christ, he moves the rock out of the way of the tomb like an amateur. This guy's moving rocks like a rookie out there. Anyway. Maybe Maxey will get them out of the second round. Hey, all right, KJ, let's go. Buddy Christ, I rolled away and got stuck. There you go. Is Bryce okay? Toss Brogdon into the sun. Love you all. Bench that bar. And then some Farsi. Thank you, Buddy Christ. Much appreciated. LeBron versus Curry in the play-in like every year now. That does seem right. Is that where they're at right now with the Warriors? Is that where they're at right now with the Warriors? Good Lord. Man, the Sixers are 5 games over 500. Oh, jeez. Sixers last night. Okay. Sixers are now 19 games out of first place. They're 2.5 games behind the Heat for the 7th seed. I'm sorry, 1.5 games behind the Heat for the 7th seed. They're 2.5 games behind the Pacers for the 6th playoff seed. 3.5 games behind the Magic. Damn, son. What does it look like in that Western Conference? Yeah, Warriors are 40 and 34. Gosh. And the Lakers are 42 and 33. Wow. Yeah. It's going to be a fun play-in tournament. That's true. Oh, one thing I want to look at here with the Sixers here. Hold on. Okay, so the Celtics are the greatest team in the history of anything. So, damn it. I hate to say that. 59 wins. Bucks. Okay, so the Celtics and the Bucks. Man, you face that squad. That's rough. See, one of the benefits of the Sixers' last couple of seasons is, of course, being a 1, 2, or 3 seed. You're facing, like, one of the reasons the Sixers have even made it to the second round is because they faced crap opponents in the first round. And that ain't happening this time around. Second round, I don't want to get it. Whatever. Depressingly. Alvarado also has looked really good. He has. Well, to me, he's the Phillies closer. April, 37 in a row, 37 in a row. I went back to listen to T-Mac make the call, 37 in a row. And then I saw Matt Gelb of The Athletic tweet it as well. And then also that Rollins was the last player to do it. 37 stolen bases in a row for Trey Turner. Daz, typical Phillies baseball in April. Yep. Sean Gillespie, what's going on? Yep. Stupid fans chanting MVP for Harper, who's done absolutely nothing. Total joke. I still like Harper. I am not going to destroy a guy for the slow start. $300 million, I get it. I understand it, but I don't believe that he's 100% healthy. And he wasn't 100% healthy in spring training, so I did not have a lot of at-bats, and he's still getting his timing down, is what I'm telling myself for maybe 2 more games. And then unleash the fury. Unleash the fury. Once May hits, he'll be good. I'm not overly concerned about Bryce Harper just yet. Harper is beyond proving himself. Stop the nonsense. Daz, you and I are on the same page, but I am going to lose my mind after 2 days. 2 more days and not hitting? Yeah, I'm going to be pissed off. But I'm going to make a prediction today. Bryce Harper goes yard. Now, it's supposed to rain today, but the Phillies are supposed to be able to get their game in at night. At least that's what the nice Cecily Tynan lady said. But tomorrow, probably not. Business person special, probably not going to get that game in. Brogdon. Sean Kilray, Brogdon, I'm just kind of scrambled out there. I'm not worried. Get these L's out of the way. Still early in the season. Sean, I admire that, and I agree. Here's the thing, Sean. I don't understand how people can't have that mindset that you have. I have the mindset that you have in all seriousness. Like, we've seen the movie. I go back to it again. 25 and 30. 7 games under 500 going into June 3rd last season. They were a win shy of making it back to a second consecutive World Series. Haven't we seen the show before? Haven't we seen the movie? For whatever reason, struggles early on. One thing I love seeing, Trey Turner not struggle. I love seeing Kyle Schwarber not struggle. I love Alec Boehm getting on base and driving in runs. I love what I've seen from Wheeler, from Suarez, from Sanchez. 3 or 4 starting pitches so far. Spencer Turnbull's supposed to get the start today for the Phils. Yay! Technically, he's a bullpen guy, but he's getting the start. James Alexander III was calling. Good morning. The Phillies need to learn how to keep the momentum going. I concur. Dr. Harry Peter, you're... all right. My lord, most of these Phillies games to start the season have been torture. We've needed a urologist, is what we've needed. Fun personal story, Dr. Harry Peter, urologist. My second grade teacher, when we were living in York County, when I was a wee lad, before we moved back to the Philly area, my second grade teacher, her name was Mrs. Dick. That was her name. And one day, her husband drove her to school. And I swear to goodness sakes, me and my fellow second grade students, Mrs. Dick brings in Mr. Dick. And she says, "Hello, class. This is my husband, Harry. He drove me to school today. Everyone say hi, Mr. Dick." And we said, "Hi, Mr. Dick." And then, even in second grade, we all looked at each other and went, "So that guy's first name is Harry?" What did you go with? What did you go? What did you just go with, Harold? If that was your last name, I admire people that got a bill of goods like that. You know what I mean? Got handed a deck of cards like that, and they just kept on dealing them. They didn't go for a second deck. They didn't go change out the card. No, they just kept going. What's your last name? D? D-E-E? Yeah, I changed it. What was it? Something else. Okay. If that's your real name, Dr. Harry. Anyway, bullpen definitely needs to rain out for today for sure, Sean. Yeah. Oh, they're going to sit Embiid tonight? Copy that. Thank you, the Bull RJ. Embiid better get back or missing the playoffs. Yeah. Farzy wears the post-game show. Locked on Philly Sports. Follow me on social media. I'll tweet up the links when I'm on. Anyone see that home run Trout had? Has he had 2 home runs? I saw one of them, and it was just majestic. I don't know if that was one last night or whatever it was, but April, thoughts on the LSU game? That charge call was crap. Oh, look at that. I didn't even see it, April, but yeah. I agree. It was crap. It was a bad call. Bye, Felicia. Sean Kilder. Ooh. Oh, by the way, yeah, bigger story is Coots is probably done for the year. Yeah. Interesting to see if Torts has any healthy scratches coming up. Oh, those will be pretty obvious, right? Oh, wow, that guy's healthy. He's not playing. Mailed it in. Yeah, Wentz to the Chiefs. I thought it was an April Fool's joke. It was not. Daz? Oh, yeah. Sean Kilrain. True. I told my oldest daughter she is the example of poor sportsmanship of what she did. Middle Tennessee State player waving by after she fouled out. She's a talented player. No need for that. I'm all. I do like sportsmanship, winning, losing with class and dignity and graciousness. But also, I do love players that play with that edge, and any player that tries to get another player's head at any point. And then you know what else I love? I love Caitlin Clark responding the way she did and coming out and playing the way she did last night. Because that's the only thing that truly matters. That's the only thing I really care about. Everything else is just extra added enjoyment. But yeah, always with graciousness. Sixers are. Ooh. Ratchy Boy TV. Sixers are going to surprise the world. I hope so. So I think the dream scenario for a lot of us is the Sixers to draw the Bucks and beat Doc Rivers in the first round of the playoffs. I think that'd be a dream scenario for both of us, for everyone. James, that was a blocking foul. I agree. Not playing tonight. Need to get that 7 seed. I thought. So Woj got a little ahead of himself, basically. Is what you're saying? Oh wow, Woj keeping quiet after that last night. Come on, man. Let's see here. Whatever. I'm not gonna. Oh, wait. Nope. Yeah, nearing a return, expected to play this week. There you go. His status for Tuesday versus OKC is expected later today, so no. That's a shame. Need to get that 7 seed. Yeah, damn right. Nick swings like he's got a tea time. That's a perfect way to put it. Can we call Roger Doran, tell him those ads are distracting as all hell? Wait, what? As far as you need to get hip on sketch? What? I need to get hip on sketch? Okay. They chanted "You Are My Sunshine" to LeBron. That's great. James, I would absolutely want to play the Bucks over the Celtics. 1,000 billion %. Oh, my God. April. Oh, Clerks, of course. In a row. Thank you. Thank you, April. I won't go into further detail. In a row. Before I saw, oh man, that's a long story. I'm not going to get into it, but yeah, be careful what you do through the parking lot. That's all I got to say. Steve Ike, what's going on? What's popping? Nice to see you. People talking about. Oh, April, you had a teacher named Dick Butts. That's pretty funny. Oh no. No, wait, hold on a second. Did Johnny Mac have to put his dog down? Oh man, I'll have to reach out to him. Thanks everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. All right, so no Embiid tonight, unfortunately. But the Sixers will be at it against the Oklahoma City Thunder tonight. So I'll cross my fingers for that. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Download the MyBookie app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and get up to $1,000 redeemable cash bonus at MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Thanks, everybody. Be back with you guys tomorrow morning. Make sure you guys hit like, subscribe, and all that stuff to the Farzy Show YouTube channel, as well as Jacob Media YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys. Be back with you guys tomorrow morning. See you guys then.